Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Truth. I'm your host, the one you love the most, Niall Heston, back with a brand new episode here in The Truth, back once again with AJ Ponciano and Lucas Heston. Guys, I know I just asked you how you're doing. It's been a back-to-back show here, so I'm not going to ask you guys again. I know you both are doing well. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are transitioning over to the NL Central Division as Lucas and AJ will be giving you guys their prospects to look out for either this year or in future years down the line. So without further ado, AJ, why don't you go ahead and kick things off with the Pittsburgh Pirates?
Yeah, I gotta go with Bubba Chandler. He's been one of their top pitching prospects the last couple of years. Was a third round pick out of high school back in 2021. Really good fastball slider combo with a curveball and changeup. Last year went 10-7 with a 3.08 ERA in 26 games, 119 two-thirds innings with 148 strikeouts, a 189 average against him this past season. Only 9 home runs, 41 walks within that time. Real good frame to him. I mean, he's their top pitching prospect right now, so I wouldn't be surprised if he makes his debut this next coming season. I mean, obviously they have Paul Skeens, Jared Jones made his debut last year and looked great. I know he was dealing with some injuries, but Bubba Chandler's up there and is able to dominate like he has been in the minors. That's a really good three-headed monster, especially for how young they all are. They're all going to be 22, 23, or 21, 23 years old. Like I said, Schemes, Chandler, and Jared Jones are all going to be great there. And then someone I potentially see down the road, uh, who I really like, is Hunter Barco, left-handed pitcher. He is 24 years old. He was a second-round pick in 2022. A really good slider changeup combo with a fastball. Lefty, from what I've seen, he kind of throws from this funky like three-quarter slot, which is can get really deceptive for guys. Made up Double A last year. Actually had a better, only pitched 4 innings in that time with a 2.24 2.5 ERA, but finished the year with a 4-2 record with 3.27 ERA, 18 games, made 16 starts, only 66 innings pitched, but with 22 walks and 84 or 83 strikeouts. Like I said, he throws from this funky arm slot that seems like it's a little three-quarter ish type of motion, but he's looked good so far in the minors. A good frame, 6'4", 210. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him be like that 4 or 5 guy. Obviously, it's going to be hard to pass up with guys like Paul Skeens, Jared Jones, and Bubba Chandler being those top three type of guys or arms that they're going to have in that rotation. But Barco, I wouldn't be surprised if he's that number 4 or 5 guy, or even just kind of a long relief out of the pen.
Lucas, you for the Pirates?
For me, first guy I did was Tramar Johnson. He's a middle infielder. He's been around for a while. 2022 first round pick. 237 average, 15 homers, 54 RBIs, 22 stolen bases, 750 OPS. So he is kind of like a middle of the road guy, but he's going to be an above average player, in my opinion. I kind of compare him to like a Nick Gonzalez type. He's short, but he'll get the job done. He'll play hard. He'll work hard. He's been around for a while. I just remember like seeing a thing on Twitter when he hit a home run in the scoreboard for the team, like putting a sad face up. Like he's a good player, and I think he's definitely going to make an impact probably this season, if not next year. But I mean, they have a really young team, so it's kind of hard to tell. And then next guy was a prep bat. One of my old baseball coaches went golfing with him, Connor Griffin. He's a shortstop outfield guy. I think he was the first high schooler taken in the draft. I'm not totally sure, but I mean, his stats were like amazing, like mine. He hit 559, 45 walks, 76 runs, 40 RBIs, 9 home runs, and the number that popped out is 90 stolen bases. I think I really had to check that because that's just crazy. I mean, like 9 home runs, 40 RBIs doesn't pop out the page, but I think the fact that he had 45 walks. I mean, I'm not sure how much of those were intentional because he was so good, but 76 runs. I mean, high school seasons, at least for me, I mean, it's more than that. But I'd say the most you're playing is maybe 35, 40 games, and that's like the top upper echelon schools. And I think the fact that he's has 90 stolen bases is just shocking. I'm not totally sure about his division and his like school, but I think he's going to be a really solid piece for the Pirates in the next 3 or 4 years.
AJ, the Reds.
Yeah, so a guy I think a lot of people forget about, I know that you definitely know this name, is Chase Petty. Originally a first round pick to Minnesota, was traded over to the Reds. Only 21 years old still, good fastball slider there. Does flash a changeup. Last year between AA and AAA, 11-5 record, a 4.20 ERA in 28 starts, 137 innings with 130 strikeouts. This is actually his first time going over 100 innings in his minor league career. He got close with 98 in the third back in 2022, but I'm really confident in him. We've seen him be solid before. He had a 1.72 ERA in 18 starts, 68 innings with 66 strikeouts back in 2023. Granted, was that an A plus ball and a little bit of double A? Yes, so it wasn't double A and triple A, but he still go out there and dominate a lot of his starts. He did give up 11 home runs, which is not great, especially when you give up 59 walks within that time with a 2.43 average against you. If he's able to figure out, I want to say the home runs because those kind of just happen. But if he's able to help or work on either the blocks or average, be able to bring at least one of those two down would really help him, essentially in Cincinnati. If he does get the call this year at some point, is because the ball flies there. So if he's able to limit maybe the batting average or blocks one of the two, so it's maybe like more solo home runs where he's not giving up too many like extra base hits like how he was last year, because he was giving a lot of hard contact because he is a really good power pitcher. At his size, I wouldn't be surprised if he's dominates. I mean, a lot of people know Hunter Green, Chase Burns that was just drafted, Rhett Lauder. I mean, Chase Petty, I think, should be right up there in that mix with those guys because he is just that talented. And then next up, I'm going to go with Alfredo Duno, catcher. He was an international signing, I want to say 2 years ago now. One of his big things is he is one of the top catching prospects in the minor leagues. It's just injuries that have been ruining his career up to this point. Only played 32 games this past season, hit 267 with a 367 on base, 3 home runs, 1 triple, 7 doubles with 31 hits, 18 runs, 16 RBIs, 18 walks, 40 strikeouts. Does have 2 stolen bases. But as a catcher, he's really solid defensively. He has a 50 hit and a 50 power tool. Also has a 55 fielding and 60 arm, so he's solid behind the plate. But like I said, injury has been one of his big things held him up the last 2 years. I don't remember what it was in 2022, or 2023, what held him out a little bit more. But just last year, I believe it was a hip injury he was dealing with for a good amount of the season, so he had like 2 different IL stints. But if he's able to stay healthy, I mean, he's proven that he's able to hit, and he's one of the best defensive catchers for his age.
Lucas, your Reds?
Yeah, for me, I picked two guys that I think, I mean, one's already made an impact, and I think the next one's pretty soon. They're both first round picks from the past 2 of the 3 past years. First guy, Cam Collier, third baseman, 2022 first round pick, hit 20 bombs, 74 RBIs, and 800 OPS. He has that pretty much throughout his career. I mean, he has nearly an 800 OPS and 800 career at bats. So I think he is someone. I mean, you're seeing a trend with guys I pick. If you have over 15 home runs and 65 RBIs, you're a guy I like because I think that they really can make an impact at the major league level. And then Rhett Lauder, AJ mentioned him as a pitcher that's been doing pretty well, and even in the major league system so far. I mean, he pitched 6 games last year with a 2-2 ERA. I mean, 2-2 record, 1.17 ERA and 30.2 innings with 22 strikeouts. So those are good numbers. I mean, very small sample, especially for a pitcher, and he was young. But I mean, in his minor league numbers, he was 6-4, 3.64 ERA, 109 innings, 113 strikeouts. So he's definitely someone that'll eat innings, not in the sense that like, oh, he's a mop-up guy, but I think he's definitely going to bring a lot of value to that Reds rotation and a team that's becoming more and more young. A guy like Nolan Marte was suspended, but he and Collier, I think, are kind of the future for that team, along with Ellie and Spencer Steer and stuff like that.
AJ, the Cardinals.
Yeah, so I really like T. Kent, 22-year-old. Could have made his debut last year, honestly. I believe he had a solid outing, or a few solid outings at spring training last year. But 6'1", 195, an absolutely electric fastball. Grade out of 60 with a great changeup also. He has a 70 grade changeup, which is really good because the highest grade you can get is an 80, and most pitchers don't even get above 65 if they have an elite pitch. And he has one of the best changeups in the entire minor leagues. Last year, solid numbers. It was 4-3 record in AA with a 2.71 ERA. Only made 20 starts, 79 2/3 innings, but 109 Ks in less than 80 innings, which is insane. Only 26 walks also with a 2.04 average against him. Whip at 1.07. And like I said, he has one of the most electric fastball changeup combos. Has a good slider that he flashes, and then not a get me over curveball, but a curveball that has gotten a lot of swings and misses over the last couple of years. He did deal with a little bit of an injury, so we haven't seen him go over 100 innings so far in his minor league career. The most he's got is 2023, 96, but they've also kind of limited him just a little bit because, like I said, he does have a really electric arm. He's very whippy, which I wouldn't say he's going to be prone to injuries, but that's kind of one of those guys that, especially for how hard he throws and just kind of the style that he plays, is someone they don't want to push too much with innings, but they want to get the most quality innings that they can out of him. And then a guy for down the future, I honestly don't see being too far down the future in the future, but Ryan Campos, out of ASU, he was just a draft pick this past year, fourth round pick, 5'8", 190 pounds, a really good hit tool, a decent defensive catcher. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets moved over to first potentially. But at this past season, only 26 games, but hit 319 with a 394 on base percentage. No home runs, no triples, but 8 doubles. On 29 hits, 17 runs, 16 RBIs. One thing I really like and I'm a sucker for is having really good walks to strikeout ratio. 13 walks to 13 strikeouts, so 1-to-1 ratio right there, which is absolutely amazing. I mean, one of my favorite guys is Juan Soto. I know he's great, but one thing I'm really impressed with is his walk to strikeout ratio, and that's one of the big things I always look at, especially at minor leaguers, especially once they get to double A, triple A, if they're able to walk a good amount to their strikeouts, they're going to find ways to get on major league rosters.
Well, I had no idea that Ryan Campos got drafted. I actually gave up a grand slam against him, if anyone, Lucas, if you remember that, when Desert played Red Mountain. So that was news to me hearing that. But Lucas, go ahead and give me your Cardinals players.
First guy, AJ mentioned him, so I'm not going to really go into it. But Teen Kens, I think he's one of the best starting just pitchers in general, prospect wise. I'm not sure if he was future stars MVP. I feel like he had a good outing. I mean, it was one inning, but I don't need to mention anymore. He mentioned the over 100 strikeouts, less than 80 innings. He's going to be a really impactful starting pitcher. Then down the line, I picked Chase Davis. He's an outfielder, first round pick in 2023. 252 average, 12 home runs, 70 RBIs, 766 OPS. So you kind of see that he's not necessarily a home run hitter, but he gets the job done in the clutch, or just in general. I mean, 70 RBIs. He only got a taste of double A, so he's someone who's not like knocking on the door right away. But I think if he can continue this production in Springfield and then move it up to, I think Memphis is their AAA affiliate. But if they can keep that up, and Cardinals also kind of have some young bats that are impressive. I think Chase Davis would really help that outfit eventually with like Lars Nootbaar or something like that. But I think he's a name to look out for.
AJ Cubs.
Yeah, I have Owen Cassie. He was part of the trade with like a few years back when Yu Darvish was traded over to the Padres. He was originally drafted by the Padres, now a Cub. 22 years old. Spent his entire time in AAA last year. Hit 278 with a 375 on base. 19 home runs, 3 triples, 29 doubles there, 75 RBIs, 71 walks to 150. 6 strikeouts with 11 stolen bases. I mean, he's been solid throughout his career, especially the last 2 years, being with the Cubs. Double A hit basically 290 with 22 home runs, 31 doubles, only 7 stolen bases with 2 triples, but he's just an extra base machine, like I mentioned. The last 2 years, he's been over 40, or been at 50, and then what is that? 50 again, extra base hits. I mean, he's been able to prove the last 2 years at 2 different levels. I wouldn't be surprised if he breaks camp, especially with the Cubs. Uh, I mean, I know they have Kyle Tucker and Seiya Suzuki, but I would say that's the only 2 blocks in the outfield. They kind of have that third outfield spot wide open. I wouldn't be surprised if Owen Cassie makes the team in that extra opening spot. And then Moises Ballesteros, he's a catcher slash first baseman. Really good hit tool, good power. The only question mark is his defense. He's not a great defensive catcher, so there's a chance he moves over to first. If he does make his debut, maybe some spot starts at catcher with whoever's catching, giving him a break. But last year hit 289 between Double A and Triple A with a 354 on base. 825 OPS, 19 home runs, one triple, 24 doubles, 53 runs, 78 RBIs, 45 walks, 93 strikeouts. Not a lot of stolen bases throughout his career. He does have a season with 7 and 6, so he can flash some speed, but I wouldn't really expect it. But he's just super mature at the plate. I don't remember his exact numbers from the Arizona Fall League, but I want to say he finished like top 3 in hits, top 3 in average, and I want to say top 10 in extra base hits this past season.
Lucas, yours for the Cubs?
Yeah, I just want to touch on, Ballesteros. I had him originally, then I saw you had him, so I didn't want to do him again. But I love like catchers that just produce and rake. So that's a guy I like. First guy I had is James Triantos. He's an infielder and outfielder for the Cubs. He's a second round pick in 2021, so he's been around a while. He has had good numbers. 300 average last year, 7 home runs, 52 RBIs, over 20 doubles, 50 steals, which I love steals, almost an 800 OPS and 440 at bats. Career wise, he has 1,300 at bats, kind of like Harry Ford. Not a big home run hitter, but 170 RBIs and 90 steals. I believe it was last year, 2023, he was the Arizona Fall League's hitter of the year. So I think he's really knocking on the door, especially like he's been around for a while. So I think it's just a matter of time. And with his versatility at second base and outfield, he struggled a little bit defensively at third, but I think that's to be expected, considering he tore his meniscus as well. And then in terms of a guy in the future, Niall should recognize his name, but Christian Hernandez, shortstop, second baseman. I've had the honor of watching him in person, and I'd go to the Arizona Complex League games, which anybody listening, I recommend you go to those, especially if you love baseball as much as I do. But he's only 21 years old. 27 doubles, 59 RBIs, and 44 stolen bases. Just love to see it. And this was at A-Ball, so I think that's Myrtle Beach they're out of. That might be Hyatt, but I'm not totally sure. But, 30 doubles, 60 RBIs, 40 steals. 760 OPS. He's so young. Not in comparison to like Ballesteros, you mentioned. He's also 21, so it's just different kind of level. But he was international signing. But I think he's someone to look out for. Really speedy. He's going to hit a lot of doubles, I think. It's just a matter of will he develop at the higher minor league level? I think he will. I think the tools translate, and I hope he does because it's on the dynasty team. But I think that it's a name to look out for the future.
And the Brewers, AJ.
Yeah, I'm going to go with their top catching prospect in Jefferson Cuero. Last year, only played in one game, had a walk, and that was it. He got injured. He tore his labrum and missed the entire 2024 season. So there's no numbers there. So going off his 2023 season in Double-A, last year he started the year in Triple-A, but in Double-A, 263 average, 339 on base, 16 home runs, 12 doubles, 36 walks, 68 strikeouts. Did have some stolen bases in his career. 2023 only had 5, but he's had 10 in 2022. Good amount of extra base hits. I think that he can be really solid for his team. I wonder what type of role they are going to have for him because he is on the 40-man roster and he should be at spring training, especially reporting soon. But like I said, I wonder what they do because he's a really good defensive catcher. He has a 70 field and 65 arm grade, and we know William Contreras is there, but William Contreras isn't a great catcher. He's gotten better the past few years defensively. Obviously, we've seen what he's able to do with the bat, being one of the best offensive catchers this past season. So I wonder if they may DH William Contreras a little bit more and have Cuero potentially, if he does make the team out of camp, more of that primary defensive catcher because it's not like he swings a noodle up there. I think he's a top 10 catching prospect in the minor leagues right now. But again, with injuries and all that, basically he did miss essentially the entire year last year. I wonder exactly how he's going to come back from that injury, especially a torn labrum, not an easy one to come back from, especially as a hitter. It's just kind of weird trying to swing after that injury. And then I'm going to go with Eric Batoni. He's a third baseman shortstop, drafted in 2023. He was a third-round pick. Only 19 years old. He doesn't have the best hit tool, but he has really good power for his age and size. He's 6'4", 218 pounds as a 19-year-old. Really solid. Last year spent some time majority of his time in rookie ball, but did spend some time in A-ball, hitting 282 with a 402 on base, 16 home runs, 3 triples, 24 doubles, 66 RB, eyes. Did strike out, had 100 amount of strikeouts in 79 games, had 100 strikeouts with only 59 walks, but 12 stolen bases within that time. He's been really good at just hitting the ball everywhere around the field. I mean, he can go oppo, he can go poolside, wherever you want him to. Like you said, he's been great. I think he's a really good speed power bat. I mean, 16 home runs in 79 games and 12 stolen bases. Great there with having 26 extra base hits on top of the 16 home runs. Like he's can put the ball anywhere it's pitched.
Lucas, the Brewers.
Yeah, first guy I have Jacob Misarowski, right-handed pitcher. I just remember him. He's one of the first guys I got known to the show, Parallel 4. But he's a second-round pick from 2022. 3-5 with a 3.33 ERA, 97 innings, and the thing that stood out to me is 127 strikeouts. That's just kind of like Tink Hence. I mean, an unbelievable amount of strikeouts. He throws the ball really hard, and a 1.2 whip between AA and AAA. So I think he's really knocking on the door there, especially with just a team that's really going to compete. I think for the NL Central, I mean that division's always competitive, and it's not like a real dynasty there. So I think that every year it kind of depends on what they do in free agency, but I think he's going to hopefully have a role for them this year, especially maybe at the end of the year. Second guy, I got Luke Adams, corner infielder, 12th round pick in 2022, so a guy that wasn't as recognized coming out of college. He only hit 230. I mean, 11 home runs, 60 RBIs, 30 steals. But in his career, he has an 840 OPS, and that'll do the trick in the majors. The only thing is he's in high A, so that's not the majors. Hopefully, I can get a look at him at some Cedar Rapids Kernels games, hopefully, for the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers. But I think he's a guy to look out for in the future, a power bat. And I think that not this year because he's only at high A, but he's had a lot of at-bats for only being at high A. I mean, 700 ABs, assuming he's hopefully going to get 400 more this year. That's putting him over 1,000. So I think he's going to be a name that needs to be considered for the Brewers in the future.
Well, there you have it for the NL Central Division. Thank you guys, as always, for listening to another episode here on The Truth. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you follow The Truth on Twitter, The Truth, as one to stay up to date with the latest information regarding The Truth, including podcast dates, podcast uploads, and other important information you don't want to miss. Make sure you guys also follow The Truth on Instagram and TikTok at the.tt.truth. Are you looking to find a drink that offers peak hydration, raises your energy levels, speeds up your recovery, and keeps your mind sharp, deflects the memory? Look no further than Acid Rainwater. I'm excited to partner with Blended Sports AZ and Acid Rainwater, which focuses on peak hydration and productivity, while also maintaining an ecosystem-friendly product. Use code HESSON15, that's HESSON 15 for 15% off every purchase. As always, I'm your host, one you love the most, Niall Hesson, joined once again by AJ Ponciano and Lucas Hesson. Take care and good night.